What's up everyone, this is FP Sticks bringing you some more Go Battle League battles here in the Great League, and in today's video I wanted to try something special here. You can see on the screen, this is one of my favorite Great League teams from back in the day, before a lot of some new Pokemon were released in Go Battle League, and before some move updates happened. But this team got me to Legend many times. It rose me to the top of the leaderboard several times, and that team is Galarian, Stunfisk, Pelipper, and Venusaur. And so I wanted to see, does this team still have play in today's Great League meta? And I'll kind of talk through these battles as they're going on about why, the spoiler alert, this team is no longer nearly as viable as it was back in the day. But let's jump right into these battles, and I'll kind of talk through why that is. So Pelipper, you hardly ever see Pelipper nowadays, and it's because the Weather Ball nerf really hurt Pelipper, as well as more and more XL Azumarils being released into Great League. The Pelipper and Azumaril matchup used to be pretty favorable for Pelipper. You could go straight Hurricane and still win that matchup. But because of all of the XL Azumarils that are now in Great League, it's actually in Azumaril's favor, which is ridiculous. And the Weather Ball nerf really hurt Pelipper, having less damage on all of those Weather Balls. Really unfortunate, but Pelipper used to make a really nice complement to Galarian Stunfisk because it was a water type that could beat other water types, as well as being able to handle the fighting types with that flying type damage. Now Venusaur is still a solid pick in Great League for sure. Unfortunately, with the introduction of Walrein, technically Walrein has positive matchups against all three Pokemon in this team, and I believe I do run into a Walrein in the second set of me using this. My opponent here unfortunately crashed the app. I was able to win this first game just purely based on rock, paper, scissors alignment. It was like a Hypno Double Dark, and this team does have positive matchups against Hypno Double Dark, so favorable alignment for me, able to take that game. But Venusaur makes a really nice complement to Galarian Stunfisk, as we know, because you're able to hard wall the water types as well as handle the fighting types. However, Trevenant is now very common in the meta as well, and kind of does this job a little bit better. One of the benefits of Trevenant is that you're not walled by Skarmory. You can actually hit for neutral damage the entire time. Plus, you're able to handle a lot of the other opposing grass types because you're able to hit for neutral ghost type damage, whereas they're most likely just hitting you with resisted grass type damage. So that's kind of an unfortunate reality there. Frenzy Plant obviously is an amazing grass type charge move, and the poison subtyping does help Venusaur against the Charmers, but being walled by the Flyers is really unfortunate, where Trevenant has a lot of play against those sorts of things, as well as not having to be worried about getting one-shotted by a Medicham. Psychic from a Medicham almost one-shots a Venusaur. After the counter damage, it pretty much takes it out, and Trevenant really doesn't have to be scared of the Psychic, and Ice Punch is definitely not going to one-shot a Venusaur. So let's see how these battles play out here. I ran this team for 2 sets, and had some fun kind of reliving some old memories of how it felt to play this team. This team does very well against Nidoqueen. G-Fisk is obviously a really good answer because all this poison type damage is essentially triple resisted, and Earth Power will hit for a lot of damage. I do get the defense fell there as well. Venusaur continues to be a really solid response to Azumaril. So this is where Venusaur does have a benefit over Trevenant, in the fact that you do not need to shield the Ice Beam, and you leave this matchup with a lot of energy stored. You're hitting for super effective damage with the Vine Whips, and Frenzy Plant, after all that damage, essentially will one-shot that Azumaril or put it in farm down range, whereas Trevenant will have to commit shields against Azumaril because Seed Bomb is unfortunately just not a good move at all. So I was able to really capitalize on that Azumarill switch in, farm up a lot of energy, and force this Trevenant to throw its moves. I'm just going to let the G-Fist go. Pelipper will be hitting for super effective with these wing attacks. And whatever's in the back, I'm fully committed to just shielding, farming this down, and we should be able to handle whatever. Yeah, it's the Nidoqueen again. So Pelipper having a pretty solid response against Nidoqueen. The poison damage does hit for neutral on Pelipper though. So over time, like in the 2 shield, I feel like Nidoqueen might actually be able to win this. Pelipper has the same pacing to the Weather Ball as Nidoqueen does to the Poison Fangs. And those poison jabs will really add up over time. Okay, Talonflame in the lead. This matchup is really all about energy management and making sure that you are timing your moves correctly with the G-Fisk. So I throw 7 mud shots there before throwing, because that is essentially the maximum amount of energy you can get before your opponent is able to throw a charge move. I do shield up the Flame Charge, and they come in with their own G-Fisk, so I'm just going to go straight for the Earthquake and then see how they want to play it. They let that go, so now I'm going to store a Rock Slide, try to catch an Earthquake on my Venusaur, but I'm able to sneak a Vine Whip through right here, which is really, really good for me. I want to be able to farm this down without getting hit by another move, and I'm able to do that. If they bring in the Talonflame, I'm going to throw 2 Vine Whips to try to maximize my energy and damage. And they actually end up spending their final shield on the Sludge Bomb, which means that I can go straight into my G-Fisk, go for this Rock Slide, and one-shot this Talonflame. Now, if this was in Ultra League, that Talonflame would have been able to survive. But at this point, I just need to safely get to this Earthquake. My opponent's running Zangoose, which is a really cool spicy pick in Open Great League. There's a lot of like cup formats where Zangoose has a lot of play, but in Open Great League it definitely struggles a little bit from the lack of bulk. Another Hypno in the lead. Anytime I see a Hypno in the lead and then a Pokemon that is weak to counter comes out here, I'm always assuming that whatever is in the back could also be weak to counter, because they're trying to bait out a Medicham and then hard punish it with Hypno. But I also am thinking that it could be like a Scrafty or an Obstagoon. The Scrafty Hypno pairing is really, really common and really, really strong. So I allow my Pelipper to get as low as possible so the Hypno is not able to farm a lot of energy. Going to chip it with a Weather Ball, but the Hypno does have an energy head start. So bringing out the G-Fisk, they're going to chip me with a Fire Punch, which is actually going to do a decent amount of damage. I will shield up this first Fire Punch and see how they want to play. Going to go for a Rock Slide bait here and see what they want to do. And they actually let it go through, which I was very surprised by. So I'm just going to throw another Rock Slide. They really want to get my final shield, so they end up shielding that. Now, I'm going to eat a lot of confusion damage from my Venusaur if I end up swapping it there. Thank goodness it's an Azumarill in the back. Azumarill and Hypno make a really good pairing as well, because Azumarill is going to be a pretty solid response to all the dark types. But luckily, Venusaur, even down a shield, this matchup is totally fine for Venusaur. I throw one Vine Whip and then throw the Frenzy Plant here for optimal energy gain. And down goes the Azumarill. I'm going to get farmed down by the Hypno, but my G-Fisk would most likely be able to survive a Fire Punch from that Shadow Hypno at that health. It would have been pretty close, but we're able to take that game there. Good game. So the first set of me using this team, I ended up going 5-0. Which I was like, wow, okay, this is pretty great. This team is still working. And then this second set is kind of a different story. So I had a favorable lead against the Altaria. One Pokemon that this team has always kind of struggled against is Altaria, if you don't see it in the lead. Pelipper really cannot keep up with Altaria. The Dragon Breath damage is just too much. And Venusaur, as we know, really struggles against Altaria. So I'm going to end up shielding this Earthquake. I really want to be able to farm this Stunfisk all the way down. But they end up saving the Stunfisk with energy and bringing out the Altaria again. G-Fisk and Altaria make a really nice pairing, because G-Fisk is a really solid response to Bastiodon and has good play against Registeel as well. Now, I'm going to switch lock my G-Fisk here, but I know that whatever they bring in is going to be a hard counter to my G-Fisk. So I want to be able to Mudshot down this Altaria. But I think I end up not committing. Yeah, I end up throwing this Rock Slide. I want to give them minimal farm on whatever they're going to bring in. They end up bringing in a Jellicent, and this is not good at all. Venusaur with no shields is really going to struggle against this Jellicent. Plus, I'm at a health range where I cannot survive a Shadow Ball, and I definitely cannot survive an Ice Beam. So I switch lock my Pelipper here to avoid getting farmed down, but this unfortunately is a mistake. Because I'm not going to be able to get to a Hurricane. They go for a Bubble Beam. I'm really hoping that I can get to a Hurricane, and they do a beautiful catch on their G-Fisk. This opponent played amazingly. They not only threw a Hex, but then they waited for half a second to align the moves and be able to make that catch. So on paper, this was a game that was definitely winnable for our team. But our opponent absolutely outplayed me there. So really well played to them. And as you can see, I'm only like ranked 17 doing these battles. So when I end up getting matched against an opponent that is really solid in their mechanics, I'm always surprised when it's in these early ranks. So Azumarill in the lead. I ideally want to catch like a Hydro Pump on my Pelipper, but that did not happen. They are going to chip away at my Pelipper. And then they end up bringing in Nidoqueen, which I was very surprised by. This gives me an opportunity to win Switch. And if I'm able to win Switch, then having Venusaur aligned with Azumarill is really great. I'm gonna no shield this Poison Fang. I know that I survive it. Now, if they double shield, they can win Switch here. But most likely what I think that they're gonna do is let it go, bring in Azumarill, bubble me down. Yep, that's what they do. Now they're loaded on energy, which is unfortunate. Venusaur does survive one Ice Beam, so I should not have shielded this first one. And then they're able to get to a second one here. I don't know what's in the back. I don't know how much value my Venusaur is going to have. Unfortunately, they have a Talonflame. If I would have saved a shield for G-Fisk, we win this game easily. But I made an incorrect read, and Talonflame is unfortunately going to sweep my entire back line. Another scenario where we definitely had an opportunity to win this game, but unfortunately I shielded the wrong thing, not able to take that out. Good game. Okay, terrible lead. But this is where we go into Pelipper, and they bring out Abomasnow. So I'm hitting for super effective where they are hitting for neutral. This is a matchup that I know that Pelipper can flip. But I will have to go into a shield deficit. So I'm going to shield this up. And you can pretty much just go straight Weather Ball in this matchup, because it will chip the Abomasnow enough that the wing attacks will be able to finish it off. So they end up double shielding. I just need to get to this Weather Ball. They do sneak a Powder Snow through, which is not great. But I should be able to farm this down. And I get a wing attack through right there, which means all I need to do is shield, and then this damage will register. They bring out the Swampert again, and I'm going to bring out my Venusaur. Whatever this Swampert throws, I know that I'll be able to survive. So I really don't want to get hit by Hydro Cannon, so I'm just going to get rid of this thing. What do they have in the back? They still have a very low Abomasnow. They end up having a Sableye, which I was very surprised by. I'm going to be able to get to this Frenzy Plant, which the Sableye does survive, unfortunately. Now, I'm in an awkward spot here. I'm worried. I really thought that I'd be able to get to that Weather Ball, but I was too low of health. So all I did was just give that Sableye extra farm. And now I'm really concerned about the catch. So I'm making every possible mistake here. I was really hoping that the Sableye did not have a move stored, but it does. And Sableye does win CMP. And the foul play is just enough to take me out. Oh my gosh. Despite being hard countered in the lead there, that was a winnable game with very sloppy playing by me. Well played to my opponent. Walrein in the lead. This is... I'm glad that I see it in the lead. And I'm glad that they're going straight Icicle Spear here. They're not bluffing the Earthquake. Walrein is a very good response to Pelipper, and is able to hit for super effective damage on the Venusaur as well. But Pelipper really struggles against Walrein because Weather Ball is going to do hardly any damage to it. So they have Walrein in the lead. I'm thinking to myself, there's no way there's a Skarmory in the back, because then they'd be very weak to Bastiodon. So I am comfortable with just soft losing the lead and giving my Venusaur a head start on energy. So I'm going to farm this down. There's no way there's a Skarmory in the back, right? What in the world? I cannot believe that there was a Skarmory in the back. Now, when they bring out a Swampert, I'm really thinking here that they're just going to let Swampert go and recognize that Skarmory is their win condition. So I go straight for the nuke here, thinking that they don't shield. And they shield. Every possible thing that can go wrong is going wrong in this game. So this is really, really not good. I have to be able to land some Weather Ball chip damage on that Skarmory. Have to keep my Pelipper alive here. Farm up as much as possible. I swap into my Venusaur to snipe down this Swampert. And I have a lot of energy stored on my Pelipper. I'm going to be able to chip this with a Frenzy Plant. Both Frenzy Plant and Sludge Bomb are double resisted here. They end up throwing energy here, which if they would have farmed me all the way down, potentially they would have won this game. Most likely, because they don't have a move stored. I'm going to throw one wing attack and then throw. And then do the same mechanic. One wing attack and throw. And then I'm one wing attack away from getting to a Weather Ball. And we're able to take this game here. Oh my gosh. I could not believe there was a Skarmory in the back, but it makes sense because it offers like some fighting type coverage for them. But that was really unfortunate when I saw that thing come out. Okay, terrible lead. We go straight into Pelipper here. And this Leaf Blade will do a lot of damage. So I'm comfortable keeping my Pelipper healthy. They end up bringing in a Skarmory. That is totally fine for me. The Pelipper-Skarmory matchup is okay if Pelipper has a big energy advantage. I do have a shield disadvantage though. But I'm really happy that I baited out the Skarmory here and don't have to see it on my Venusaur. Now, I know that I can get both of their shields in this matchup. That's why I committed my shield there. Because I know that I do outpace to these moves. Able to get to another Weather Ball here. If they let this go, they will lose switch advantage. So they end up committing their second shield, and they cannot farm me down because I would have gotten to another Weather Ball. So I'm in a very positive spot here. I'm going to load up a lot of energy with the G-Fisk. And this allows me to, when they have the Surf Fetch come in again, I will have a Rock Slide ready, which will do a lot of damage to it. Out comes the Surf Fetch, gonna land this Rock Slide and then swap and see what they end up having in the back. And they end up having a Mew in the back and they concede the matchup. Thank you all so much for watching. It's very unfortunate that this team no longer functions nearly as well as it did in the past, but it was really fun running this team. If you all appreciate the content, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you all in the next video.